Okay. So if you look at what we had, this is, we were saying, I can save these details here. Maybe passkey is something like that. The email is Nderu at that. And then I say save. So, and what we did is that when you refresh this, shared preference is here. So my shared preference, you can see those details. We have kept them there. So those are the details that have been put in that case. I hope you can see the screen there. So, and then our idea was that those details will persist, will persist for a period. So you will have them even if the app is crashed. Like now, I've moved it to restart. If you go to whichever app you go there, the details will persist. There will be under their shared perf. You will find the details are still there even after you. So here are the details that I'm talking about. So these are the details saved in the machine. These ones here are the details. So even if I refresh it again, I'm still able to get those details. Higher. So that was what we did, and on shared preference. I can go back to my PPT. So what that example was looking at is the use of shared preference, specifically the use of key value pairs. Now, the next one, and I actually gave you this example, and I told you, apart from what we did in class, I told you to go and try this. So you describe the preference using XML, you create a subclass or preference fragment, which allows users to view and set preferences, and then you use fragment manager to display. So this is the way in which this code was working, and I believe you're able to try it and test that. So that was supposed to be done using that approach, and you are supposed to design that screen and so on. That is something I left you to work on. Okay, that is something I left you to work on in that case. Yeah, so that was okay. So that was the example. Then the other one that now, so if you look at the example I've implemented, is a modern way of doing it, which is the easiest way. The XML description can be complex with various categories. That's what we did with the one that we have. So an application can have more than one set of named preferences, like the one we did. And the shared preference object provides access to an editor, which has numerous methods. So we used the editor in our case. So that's why if you look at the code that we had created an object called editor dot that was supposed to be used for being able to populate. So editor dot put and so on. The object editor was of type was created using, we created it using shared preference dot editor and so on. So want more details? Please visit this site, look at more details around it, and that is well. So there are some questions you have to ask yourself when you're doing shared preference. One of them is, what amount of data can be stored? What's the frequency of access? The amount of data to be stored, the frequency of access, the types of access required, read-only, update, and so on, the type of data to be stored, and whether the data needs sharing between applications. So if you look at the amount of data, for shared preference is not a lot. The frequency of access can be as many as you want because the storage is in your machine. The type of access can be update, read only, very okay. The type of data to be stored, mostly here, we say is text or binary data. not images, and whether data needs sharing between applications. In this case, when you're working with the shared preference, you can't share. You can't share between applications. Data cannot be shared between applications. So that is the idea. Next is what Shah is asking about the files for storing text or binary data. So we work with this example. And what we were doing here is that we were creating a to-do file. We were creating a to-do file that was supposed to store some value. This is for storing text or binary data. And we did say that the data for that is treated as binary stream of bytes, sorry, it's treated as a stream of bytes. It's API based on normal Java standard edition stream, the input output classes, the file input and the file output stream, and the buffered reader. So the data is either internal storage, normally not shared with other apps. And when you uninstall the app, that one goes. External storage, maybe a physical removable storage, or a portion of the device internal storage accessible by user and other apps. So in our example, we did this. That's what we did, where we demonstrated how you can use internal storage that can be shared with other apps and can be removed. So this was the example, creating and writing an internal file. So you use the open file output where you want to write, to open the file to write. So the name of the object is out. We are using file output stream. This is the name of the file. The mode is private. And now we can write the data. So start of the file, and then once you are done, you close it. So that was the idea. So then you can also read from an internal file using open file input. So you are opening the file so that you can use it as I want to read content. The name is called myfile.txt. And so you read bits from the file, close the file. Often it's more convenient to up the input file using other classes such as buffered reader. That is advice used. So here is a simple one, but before we go to that, there is what we did.